Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Connected by Community, a podcast brought to you by Ballantine Capital Advisors. We're glad to have you here today. My name is Brian Ballantine. I'm here with Cameron Cannon and Dr. Katherine Birchenough. I did not say that right, and I practiced it even.
You did okay.
And I should throw myself on it because you even train and coach me. So, if you would like to introduce yourself so that I don't butcher it, that would be awesome.
Sure.
That would be great.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Katherine Birchenough, and I'm an MD, and I have an office in downtown Greenville.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think the reason why, and I was telling you before, I've been most excited about this episode of Connected by Community for personal reasons because all kinds of cool things you guys do. In fact, so much so we probably are going to have multiple podcasts.
I'd be happy to do that.
But maybe before we jump into what you guys do, we were actually chatting about it a little bit before, so our audience knows, are you from this area? Did you move here? Are you married? Do you have kids? Maybe a little background about yourself.
Sure, yeah, I am. I'm not from here. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. So I'm a native South Carolinian. I'm proud to say that. And my husband is from upstate New York. So we met in Charlottesville, Virginia, when I was a resident in training at University of Virginia, Charlottesville. And from Charlottesville, we moved to Nashville, Tennessee for a year. And then at the time of having to figure out where we're going to settle down, I wanted to come back to Greenville because I spent 2 years here in 1997, 98 when I was a medical student. Fell in love with Greenville. So I'm here and I'm here to stay. But I'm married. We don't have children. We got married at a later age. So I was in my late 30s when I got married. And so no kids. And my husband and I have a great life. And we have a practice together now.
Awesome. Well, how's that working together?
It's good because we don't work in the office every day together. That's how it works. But he's a plastic surgeon and has a hospital-based practice as well as this practice with us.
Okay.
So
cool. So I believe Cameron ran into you and spoke really highly about at least one of the services that you offer. And it's definitely one of the ones I've been wanting to even try out. So I'm telling on myself to the audience because I've heard about this before. And it really makes you feel really better, right?
So
Cameron's were you like a new person?
Felt like a new person, yeah. So I met them through the BMW Charity Pro-Am event, and I was out there with some buddies, got some free tickets, and we were having a great time, right? Just enjoying the event, and ran across their table, and I was like, why not? So we all got it, myself and one of the other guys who work with, Tyler. And we woke up the next morning, and I was like, I've never felt better. I thought I was going to be hungover because I enjoyed the event, right?
A little too much fun.
Yeah, too much fun. And I show up to work, and I felt like a new person. I was like, if I could do this every day, I would. So
please tell us what the secret is there.
Yeah, what's the secret?
This is my level of excitement.
So it's not really a secret. It's a biological fact is all it is. But the BMW Pro-Am tournament, we've done that for 2 years now. I had an IV tent there. It's really fun. And I'm just wondering if the cute nurses had anything to do with you stopping.
Hey, he's a newly married man.
I'm married. No, it was strictly business. Actually, one of my buddies that was single was walking by. It was myself, one of the guys we work with who's also engaged, and then one of my buddies who's a single bachelor, we'll say. And he's like, man, we need to do this. And I was like, whatever, Josh. Like, I don't care. And we walked by and I was like, whatever, we'll do. It's like $50 or something at the time because y'all were running a special.
That's right.
I was like, sure, yeah. Like, we've been drinking, having a good time. I need to feel good at work the next day. So we stopped by and got it, and I just felt fantastic. So no, it wasn't because of the nurses, but
he didn't tell me about the nurses.
Oh, my staff is awesome.
But they were extremely nice, though. I will say that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be who we are without our staff. They make us what we are. So I'm proud of them, and they are pretty cute too. Yeah. But so how does it work? So the IVs that we do are, I call them medical grade nutrient IVs because we do a medical grade combination of very high quality vitamins and minerals and things that are compounded at a compounding pharmacy without preservatives. So for the most part, we try to use preservative free and we also concentrate on using safe plastics, because plastics exposure is not good. So we use clean ingredients and we provide your body with a couple of things. So you feel good because everybody feels good with hydration, right? IV fluids make everybody feel better, and especially if you're drinking or being outside in the hot sun because you're dehydrated, right? So the fluids are going to help you feel better, and the vitamins and minerals actually target certain biochemical processes in your body that help you detox, right? So they help you detox from alcohol exposure. They help you metabolize that alcohol in a healthier and faster way so that intermediates don't build up in your system and cause a hangover. So basically, there's a 3-step process to metabolizing something like alcohol. And if you get stuck at step 1 or between step 1 and 2, you start to feel it. And that's what a hangover is. It's because you get stuck at step 2. It doesn't go to step 3 because you're deficient in vitamins and certain minerals that are cofactors in the detox process. So it's a very scientifically sound way of just promoting health, promoting detox. It also targets the energy pathways of the body, and that includes of the brain. So your brain feels like it lights up because extra B vitamins really help with cognitive function, and extra minerals like calcium, magnesium, potassium, even some trace minerals like selenium and zinc in those IVs really help sort of facilitate just better functioning of every cell in your body, including your brain cells.
Very cool.
So, I don't want to say I think I know the answer because I really don't. So how's that different than you just load up on some pills you bought from the store?
Good question. And I still think taking oral vitamins and minerals is a good idea. But to be honest, we only absorb about 30 or 40% of that. So you're losing 50 or 60% or more of that in your elimination process through your kidneys or through your bowels because your body can't absorb all of that. And there are a lot of reasons for that. One of the reasons is not everybody has the greatest gut health anymore. I know you've probably heard a lot about gut health and the microbiome and digestion and things like that. And so there's kind of an epidemic of poor gut health, especially in younger people these days. And so the absorption is really impaired by that. So you just can't absorb the oral ones as well, although I think they're a good insurance policy against deficiency. Ideally, you'd get everything you need from food, right? Mm-hmm. But that just doesn't happen anymore. So we're not growing our own vegetables. We're not eating root vegetables. We're not eating a lot of leafy greens that are high quality. And we just don't get enough. So that's why everyone feels better on the IV because you're replenishing some stores of things that you probably are a little deficient in, although not clinically deficient to the point where you'd have symptoms like scurvy, for example, from vitamin C, or something called beriberi from a B vitamin deficiency. We don't have those like overt symptoms of deficiency, but we have milder symptoms of deficiency that we don't recognize. And that's why you feel it. And if you had that much in your system every day, you'd probably feel like that every day. But you notice the difference because you were starting at your baseline, right? And then you came up to here.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah. Whereas your baseline should obviously be closer to the normal. But
if you did those once a week, for example, for about 4 or 5 weeks, your baseline would actually come up to here. And then
that's what I was going to ask. So like, is there treatment plans, I guess, per se, where it's, you come once a week or you come every other week to kind of, bring it back to people?
There are treatment plans that I do for some of my more compromised patients, especially the ones with really poor gut health and digestion issues. So I'll have them come in once or even sometimes twice a week for the first few weeks and get replenished because your cells get replenished actually. And these vitamins and minerals are stored in your cells and can be stored in your white blood cells, for example. A lot of them are flushed out on a daily basis. B vitamins are kind of hard to hold on to, but you do sort of build up your stores so that you go from here to here, and then the next time you get an IV, you might go up to here, but then you come back down. So you kind of, you can feel it, but less so as time goes on, as you get healthier.
So how do you said those that maybe need it more, how do you determine who needs it more?
I do testing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's also based on symptoms. There are a lot of chronic illnesses that respond to IV therapy. Things like fibromyalgia, migraine headaches, a lot of the more ill-defined chronic illnesses respond well to IV therapy. There's a whole host of them out there. Plus chronic infections, chronic reactivated Epstein-Barr virus, Lyme disease patients, they respond really well to IV therapy.
What about MS?
That's a good question. I haven't had any MS patients, but I have had some Parkinson's disease patients that respond really well and early onset dementia patients that respond well to specific things in the IV. Those are specialty IVs, adding certain things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
My wife has MS, and so she has fatigue, chronic, a lot of fatigue issues and migraines. So just when you said that, and a lot of times she does well during the day, but by the end of the day is really zapped compared to the average person, as I say it. So always looking for things that I don't know if I'd use the word alternative, but maybe that are different because the natural, all you're going to do at a traditional doctor is here's a pill. This is all we can do for you. But are there other things? And she certainly, as I always joke, you wouldn't know about looking at me because I need to get better shape. But she buys very healthy food, Obviously, she cooks good, so I eat too much of it. But no, seriously, she eats very like organic, clean, and I always say
you always come in complaining about
our
like
eggs. Our eggs cost
like
$7. She's going to kill me for saying all this because she'll watch this episode.
No,
but I mean, like seriously,
she's doing the right thing.
Because her thing is like, okay, I can't control I got MS, but I'm going to control what I put in my body, right?
That's right.
And always saying, well, if I can do this to make myself, but there's only so much you can ultimately do, right?
There's only so much you can do because we have to live in this world, and this world is full of things that challenge our physiology on a daily basis. That's why fortifying yourself with what I do at my office really helps you achieve a better state of health. And that's really what it's all about. It's not about just avoiding or curing a hangover.
Yeah, obviously.
Although that's a really helpful thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has to, needs that once in a while. But it's about really giving your body what it needs to operate at its full capacity, at an optimal level. That's really what I do, is I help figure out where your challenges are. So I do testing. I do nutritional testing, and I can identify specific genetic needs for certain vitamins and minerals in higher quantities or of a different type than are commonly available. I can also identify cellular deficiencies that we target with individualized treatment plans, meaning I will customize your IV therapy to fit what your body needs. And also customize your oral vitamin therapy, on a daily basis based on testing, because I believe in testing, and everyone's individual and not everybody needs the same thing. And there are certain genetic things that indicate a need for something different. And if you give the wrong thing, it can result in some problems. So it's good to know that right off the bat. So I firmly believe in testing, quantifying individual requirements, and basing a treatment plan on that for everything that I do, including hormones, thyroid management, gut health work. I do all of that. So
what are some of the outcomes you see from doing that?
Really good outcomes. So people feel better than they have in years because they just get on the right program, give their body what it's asking for. And then, your body functions like it's supposed to. So it's not about covering up your symptoms with the prescription medicine that just treats a symptom, although that's useful sometimes, right? It's useful in the short term when you need to relieve symptoms. But ultimately what you want to do is treat what's causing your symptoms, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. You treat what causes it and then ultimately end up in a better place without the need for daily prescription medication. So that's my philosophy of medicine. So, and I used to work in the ER. I didn't tell you much about my background, but I was, so I originally trained in pediatrics. I got a residency training or a board certified in pediatrics. And then I did emergency medicine. And I got board certified in emergency medicine. And then I worked in the ER seeing children for years. And then I started seeing adults. And then I started to really see the results of chronic illness that were affecting people on a daily basis. Things you couldn't fix in the ER, because you can fix a lot in the ER, but you can't fix a chronic illness, something that somebody needs to address at a deeper level. And these people were falling through the cracks. And I also did a lot of IV therapy in the ER, right? Because everybody gets hooked up to an IV when they come in, right? So certain patients need certain things, like chronic alcoholics need certain B vitamins in their IVs. So they would get folic acid and thiamine to help them through that withdrawal symptoms that they would have while they were in the hospital. So I started to get really curious about other things that you could do with that. And that had a lot of impact on how I practice now. So I took what I've learned from the ER and urgent care and applied it to my current patient population, which are the walking well, but also what I call medical refugees that just fall through the cracks and just don't get what they really need because they fall outside of the confines of conventional medicine. They aren't really sick, so they don't really meet criteria for a certain diagnosis, but they're not functioning at their best capacity, and it's affecting them on their in their daily lives in a negative way. So what I do is sort of on top of conventional medical care. So I believe firmly that everybody needs a primary care doctor and needs to stay on top of those things. But I also believe that the people that want to take it to the next step should do the things that we do.
There has to be a huge market for that. And, again, as I just shared with you, I have a wife who has MS and obviously creates lots of health challenges that the traditional medical world, frankly, just can't solve.
Exactly.
And there's other people like her and other diseases, right?
There are lots of people out there that are getting by, and getting by to the point where, they can go to work, they can, live their personal lives, but they don't feel great.
Right.
And I think that everybody can feel great if they put the work into it. So, and I think that everybody can feel good even into their 40s, 50s, and 60s when everybody starts to falter and have, those midlife health issues. They're just tired at the end of the day, or they just feel like something's changed with their hormones. And so they come in and say, I just don't feel like myself anymore. And those are my ideal patients, actually, because I can really help them.
All right. So this is podcast confessions here. Okay. So this is where it gets real. So most of our clients, I'll throw myself in there, are middle-aged. Well, I'm not middle-aged. I'm still young. I'm on the other side.
You're pretty close.
What is middle-aged these days?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was 40 was old till I got there. I'm really close to 50, but I'm not there. But it just doesn't feel, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's always pushing. But me and my clients, I'm now on we'll call it the 50 to 75-year-old crowd.
Yes.
We do feel different, right? I can't, right now, so if I look at you where I'm having some back problems, right? My back's bothering me. And if I go, and that's probably some nerve issue or whatever, but if you go do yard work, the back aside, maybe I don't bounce back as quick. And maybe I can't, go on as long of a hike, whether it's being out of shape or in shape has nothing necessarily to do with it. Your body's just not recuperating as fast. So that's why we've joked. Forever I said, I got to go get one of those things Cameron got. I think I just feel better.
Yeah.
But is part of that just natural aging? Or is it just accumulation of eating bad forever and some of these things you talked about? And because I truly think a lot of my clients will have these questions that's watching this, for the 50 to, we'll call it 75-year-old crowd, what are the things you best help them with? Because it sounds like that's who you can help. And what are the things they struggle with?
That's a loaded question, isn't it? There's a lot that goes into that. But so
you can pick on me, by the way. So I'm just
so what happens in middle age, and in my patients, it's anywhere between 35 and 60, basically, is that your body starts to, I call it a cumulative result of living in this world. Basically, your body starts to break down a little bit because of all the things you just mentioned, right? Eating the wrong foods, chronic inflammation from certain things that you're exposed to, too much sugar, too much alcohol, exposure to toxins in the environment, and including our water, our food, and the air that we breathe. We can't avoid it, right? It's the way the world is now. So our bodies start to lose the capacity to compensate for those things for a lot of reasons. Cellular aging is one thing. Micronutrient deficiencies, which is what those IVs replace. Poor digestion. As we get older, we don't digest as well. So our stomach acid sometimes declines. And then we're not absorbing as much protein. So we become protein deficient. And oh my gosh, sleep. Nobody's sleeping well anymore. So lack of quality sleep means your body can't repair and regenerate overnight. So there's a lot of things that go into what you feel like in middle age, including hormone decline, because we're seeing hormone decline or low hormones in younger and younger people now. And I have my suspicions about why that is, and I won't go into that. But those things—
Is that a separate podcast by itself?
That's a separate podcast. I have a whole— I could talk forever on that. But those are the things that play into how you feel as you get older. So it's not really about getting older. It's about aging at a cellular level due to those things, right? There's certain things that just wear out as we get older. Our joints wear out, sure. Those things happen, and we can't really avoid that. But we can avoid some of the commonly misconceived things about aging, like you don't have to be tired. You don't have to have no sex drive anymore. You don't have to be overweight. You don't have to do those things. There are ways to fix that, and they're doable things, and they're realistic things. And I see it every day in my practice.
So what are some of the other things that we haven't talked about that you guys do? I know we were talking about maybe some updates coming, and certainly I want you to share that. But what are some other services that you guys offer in your practice?
Before I go into that, how about, do you have any more questions on the IVs? Because I could talk about those.
I probably could talk. Actually, I just want to know where do I sign up.
Okay.
Yeah. That's maybe once we get off camera. I gotta get that my calendar, and I need to just come down.
Same.
Yeah.
So on, I know you mentioned your typical crowd is 35 to 60. I'm 24, so I'm kind of on the younger end of that. What do you see is kind of changing in that crowd of, not only mentally, but physically? Like I know you mentioned the hormone thing, for example. In the younger crowd, what do you see that's changing that they could come to you for?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So in the younger crowd, so I saw a lot of younger people affected by the pandemic, right? Just the change in lifestyle, just everything that happened over those couple of years. A lot of anxiety and a lot of impaired sleep, things like that. And I think in the younger crowd, what I'm seeing mostly is they are more stressed, more anxious, and stress and anxiety tend to impact your body in a way that You deplete your vitamins and minerals that actually help you deal with stress. So stress is a very complicated concept, but there's a lot more of it these days. Would you agree? That there's a lot more stress, right? And younger people are more stressed than they've ever been. This world is hard to live in. And being in your 20s and 30s now would be really difficult because there's a lot of confusion and a lot of strife out there right now, I think. So anxiety and stress tend to deplete your endocrine system in such a way that your cortisol is either too high or too low. Your neurotransmitter balance in your brain is altered, so you're more anxious, less serotonin, more of some other things. And those are all impacted by the way you live your life, the way you eat, what you're exposed to. So that's how I can help younger people, is get them in and really decipher what it is specifically that they're dealing with and where they can shore up their defenses and help their bodies and their minds deal with what they have to live with these days. So
that could be like for example, like I know a lot of people that take for anxiety medicine, like Prozac and stuff like that. So that could be like that's a short-term fix, right? For a problem that you're having. Right. What's the long-term fix? And that could be potentially what you're doing.
Yeah, you don't want to be on those medicines forever. I mean, they're good for short-term. If there's something traumatic that happens in your life and you need to pull yourself out of a rut, they work really well. But you don't want to get stuck on those for life. But I guess the point is you don't have to be sick to come see me. You just have to want to feel better. That's really the point I'm trying to make.
That's the slogan right there.
Yeah. You don't have to be sick.
Telling you, as soon as we're done, we're getting my calendar excited. I'm pumped.
So other services that we offer. So we just purchased a building in downtown Greenville, and we plan on moving our office into a bigger space and expanding what we can offer. Right now, we're in a really small space in downtown Greenville. It's cute. It's really fun to come visit us. We're kind of one street off Main Street, so kind of near the center of action, but not right on Main Street. And so we offer, my practice is called a wellness and aesthetics practice. So my husband manages the aesthetics side because he's a plastic surgeon. So he helps people look better. And I do the wellness side, so I help people feel better. So we offer anything from hormone management to thyroid management, to gut health work. I get a lot of people with poor gut health. Hormone management refers to both older people like myself, for example, in menopause, and men with low testosterone, as well as younger people with hormone imbalances, specifically younger women with things like PCOS or infertility or things like that. But gut health is also a big draw to our practice. We do a lot of work with especially younger women with gut health issues, and that includes irritable bowel syndrome, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, things that, again, conventional medicine acknowledges, but currently doesn't have the best tools to treat it. And there are ways to treat it and get you past that really work. So gut health isn't a sexy thing to talk about, but it's something a lot of people deal with and just never talk about.
What about people with Crohn's with gut health issues?
Yeah, Crohn's isn't something that I can necessarily cure, but I can certainly make you feel better on a daily basis with alternative, or I should say complementary things that we do, because I shouldn't say alternative. That's not a good word, because I don't want to be seen as an alternative medical doctor, because I'm really not. I'm just more of a forward-thinking, outside of the box kind of medical doctor. And what we offer is complementary therapy. So adjunctive care and complementary therapy to conventional medicine.
So unfortunately, my son has Crohn's. I asked that question. And I don't know if it's because autoimmune with my wife, but so he's been on this drug for like 4 years, and it's helped a lot. But one of the goals is maybe one day he gets off of it. And so and it has helped him. It's a blessing. His growth shot up and et cetera. And he's not had a lot of issues. But recently his body started developing some antibodies or some resistance to it, and they had to up his meds. And I never liked the thought of taking any medication if you don't have to.
That's right.
That's not natural. And his doctor had mentioned maybe when he gets past college, he might be able to even wean off of it if he doesn't have it. But maybe some other type vitamins or something that support his gut health could be helpful, because I know with him, he's not had a severe case, but it's been a case where if he eats the wrong things, some dairies or heavy sugars, it can bother him. So that's just interesting to me on a personal level to kind of talk about that.
Yeah, and with gut health, there's a lot that goes on with something like Crohn's being an autoimmune disease. It's about immune dysregulation. So something dysregulates your immune system and makes it attack your own body. So immune dysregulation is another thing that I work pretty frequently with in certain patients. And that's the way I do it is I identify where the immune dysregulation is coming from and what we need to do to support certain aspects of the immune system to balance it out. So it's less likely to attack your own tissues, basically. So I do use more natural stuff. Again, the prescription medicines for those kind of illnesses are sometimes necessary and can be for years. But there are other things you can do to minimize your symptoms, including looking at food sensitivities, so certain food sensitivity testing that can help identify the triggers that you were mentioning for him. Sometimes it's hard to identify those. And so
Chick-fil-A milkshakes was it for him.
Too bad.
He had to give those up. He loved them, and he's like, because it's dairy and sugar, basically. That's all you're having, right?
Exactly.
Not a good deal.
Not a good deal. But I do a lot of work with identifying sensitivities to foods, adjusting people's diets, and then plugging in some of the nutrients like you were mentioning, certain micronutrients, and then things like omega-3 fatty acids in high doses can help reduce inflammation at the gut. There's lots of things you can do. And there are also some off-label medications I use, peptides, for example, peptide therapy, which is another whole podcast, but certainly very interesting, that can help people wean off of prescription medications. And, it's about really fixing the underlying cause of the illness and then helping the body kind of get past that is really what it's all about. I haven't ever successfully cured Crohn's, but I have reversed ulcerative colitis in my sister, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So she's off of medications now. Had a terrible case of ulcerative colitis.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, and I assume, with a lot of folks, and I'll throw my son in there and my wife both having issues. I don't think either one of them and a lot of patients expect cures, but gee, if you could reduce your medication or just feel better, manage it, that's a blessing, right?
And I think it gives people a sense of control over their health because oftentimes they feel out of control when they're going to all these different doctors and specialists and being told maybe different things by different people. You don't feel like you're in control of anything. And you get handed prescriptions and you take a handful of pills every day. And like I said, medications, I'm not knocking them because they do work. But
Absolutely.
they have side effects. And my patients say, well, I'd rather take a handful of supplements than a handful of pills. And I say, well, that's probably better. You're still taking a handful of something every day, but they have side benefits, not side effects. So there's a difference in taking nutrients and minerals and anti-inflammatory plant compounds and things like that, because the side benefits extend beyond just treating that specific illness versus the medication that's targeted at that specific illness, right? Which has side effects associated with it. So there's just a whole philosophy behind using those natural compounds versus using synthetic prescription medications. So that's what I do with those patients if they're willing to put in the work. And it does take a lot of work on their part. They have to change a lot of things about what they do, how they live, what they eat. Sometimes their schedules have to change. So we go really deep into lifestyle and help people figure those things out. So, and basically I can treat anything with that way of looking at health and medicine. So there's nothing that I can't treat with that kind of perspective, basically.
What about the aesthetic side? Can you talk a little bit about what that?
We have,
and maybe even for me out there, who may not understand what I've heard this terminology. Right. What is it? How does it work?
Yeah. So we do a lot of things at our office for skin health. My husband is a plastic surgeon, so he does cosmetic surgery. So he sees his cosmetic surgery patients at our office downtown. And so he does things that require going to the operating room mostly. And then we have in-office aesthetics. We have lasers for skin health and skin resurfacing. We have a really good esthetician. Her name's Eliza. And so she does all of the non-invasive things like microneedling for skin. She does certain kinds of facials. We do laser hair removal. We do all the things that kind of help you look better. And we also have, in addition to the hormone part of the practice, I have a sexual wellness part of the practice where I actually help men and women with sexual dysfunction. So we're really about improving all those aspects of life that you might not think are possible to improve.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Man, you guys, we really do have multiple.
We have a lot.
Here. Yeah,
doing it all.
Yeah.
So what kind of things are you hoping to do with a new office? Is it just bigger, nicer? Are you going to have additional services there?
I think we're going to stick to, so we have so many services right now. My staff would kill me if I added something else. So we're going to perfect what we do and do it better in a better, a more efficient space. Right now, we're really space constricted, so I can't even hire anyone else right now. So we can't grow the practice in the current space we're in necessarily because of space constriction. So we're hoping for more space so that patients don't feel so cramped and, close to each other, and hire more staff to help us bring in more of the patients that we'd like to help. And so our new office space is going to be about 3 times as big as what we're in now. And it's going to have on-site parking, which we don't have downtown. So
Can't
it's
beat
all
that.
good. I know, it's all good.
No more parking garages.
Yeah. So, no additional services at this point. Just getting better at what we do now.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So sincerely, I would like to have you back sometime, dig deeper into some of the maybe specific areas and focus on that.
Yeah.
And maybe by then you'll have the new office up and going. I think I have asked a lot of questions. Do you have any others that you can think of? I think you got one big one you want to ask, right?
Yeah. So we always like to ask the question, what makes you tick?
Oh, wow. What makes me tick? Meaning what gets me up in the morning and gets me going?
However, we've had somebody take it, what makes you ticked off? So take liberty with however you want to answer it.
So what makes me tick? I think I was thinking about this yesterday on the way home from work. I was thinking about how happy I am in what I'm doing in my life right now. I think because I'm doing what I'm passionate about. So what makes me tick is exactly what I'm doing every day now. Seeing patients, helping people feel as good as they can and live their lives as best they can. And I think every day I go to work, I get that positive reinforcement from my patients that I'm actually really helping, which, in the past, I didn't get that in medicine. So I didn't get that feeling in the ER or urgent care. And it's just nice to feel that way every day, to go in and actually really help people.
That's awesome.
That's what makes me tick.
That's awesome. So if people wanted to find you now and reach out to you and your practice, how would they locate you or find you?
So we're online, and you can Google OptimalSelf MD, or you can Google Dr. Birchenough. And you can also just Google IV therapy in Greenville and we'll come up. And we have a website that actually allows you to, quote, apply for consultation. So you can fill out a little questionnaire that basically details what you're looking for. And once you do that, our staff will reach out to you and either set up a phone call with me, because I like to talk to potential patients, especially if they're going to be more complicated. And that way I can get to know them a little better and make sure that we have what they're looking for. And then we get you plugged in as a patient to come in for services. Now, for IV therapy, you don't have to do all of that. You can actually just call up and just schedule an appointment. You don't have to see me. You don't have to have any testing done. We just start you out on what we think you need based on your symptoms and what you're looking for. So we don't have to do a big workup for IV therapy, although if you're interested, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's either call the office, go online and fill out the consultation form, or send us an email.
Okay.
And we'll get back to you.
Awesome. I'll be one of them. So
good. I can't wait.
So excited to hear about it. So thank you for joining us and certainly learned a lot. And it was fun. So we're gonna definitely have you back and learn more.
That was really fun. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And thanks everyone for watching this edition of Connected by Community. Go out and like us, find us, share us on all the various social media platforms, your podcast, and tell your community about us. And until we see you next time, go out and make our community great.